In the old imagination of Greece, the sun was not a ball of gas, not a chart in a classroom, not a forecast icon on a glowing screen. It was a god at work. It was Helios, golden and watchful, crossing the heavens each day in a blazing chariot, seeing all things, missing nothing, dragging light behind him like a king drags a banner through a conquered city. And if that sounds grand, it should. The ancients knew something we often forget while checking the weather app, with the reverence once given to an altar. The sun does not feel small when it rises over a mountain. It does not feel abstract when it burns a field dry, or turns bronze armor into a furnace, or floods the sea with molten gold. It feels like power, personal power, ordered power, a force with a face. So let us tell the story as they might have felt it, not as a diagram, but as a tale. Each night, when the world darkened and the last fire on the horizon bled into purple, Helios descended in the west. Mortals saw only sunset. They did not see what came after. They did not see the god pass beyond the edge of day, where the bright lands ended and the secret roads of night began. There, at the margin of Oceanus, where the great river of the world circled earth like a serpent of black water, Helios left his burning team and stepped from the chariot. The horses steamed in the dusk. Their flanks glowed like embers under a forge hammer. Their breath came out in smoke and sparks. Their names were spoken with awe, for they were no common beasts. They were fire clothed in muscle. They were speed given hoof and mane. No stable in Greece could have held them. No mortal hand could have bridled them without becoming ash. And Helios, weary from the labor of the day, entered the golden cup, prepared for him by the divine smiths. A curious image, but the Greeks were splendidly unembarrassed by wonder. Into that shining vessel he stepped, and by it he crossed the world stream through darkness, sailing beneath the earth while men slept, while wolves hunted, while kings whispered plots in lamplight, while mothers hushed infants, while thieves thanked the night for its kindness. He traveled east in silence. Then came dawn. Long before any shepherd saw the ridge brighten, before fishermen looked up from their nets and muttered that morning had come too quickly, before temple columns caught their first pale wash of light, Helios had risen from the stream. In the far east stood his palace, bright with impossible metals, with doors that seemed made from hammered day itself. There the hours attended him, those grave daughters who governed time, season, measure, and the proper arrangement of things. They yoked the horses, they fastened the traces, they opened the gates, and Helios climbed into the chariot. What a sight that must have been in the imagination of a people who lived under that sky, with no roof of steel and glass to tame it. The axle flashed, the wheels burned, the horses reared against the horizon. Then, with a cry fit for a god and a crack of golden reins, Helios rose. Up he came over the lip of the world. First the mountain tops received him, then the towers, then the olive groves silvered with light, then the sea, then the faces of men. Bronze shone, spears gleamed, white stone awakened. The world returned to itself under his gaze, and that gaze mattered. Helios was not merely the driver of the sun, he was the all-seeing one. From his high road across heaven, he looked down upon every shore, every field, every house court, every oath, every betrayal. The Greeks often gave their gods strange jobs, but this one makes a severe kind of sense. Who else should witness the hidden things better than the god who sees everything under daylight? It was Helios who knew where Persephone had gone, when the earth mourned and Demeter wandered in grief. It was Helios who could say what others could not, because he had seen the dark king take the maiden into the underworld. Nothing under the open sky escaped him. A liar might fool a neighbor, he might fool a judge, he might even fool himself, which men do with alarming enthusiasm. He could not fool the sun. That old idea has a kind of steel in it. Light reveals, day exposes. The sun is not merely warmth, it is testimony. So day after day Helios drove his course, and men below ordered their lives around his passage. Farmers rose by him, sailors reckoned by him, priests timed rites by him. Kings claimed descent from gods brighter and more glamorous, but Helios had the greater dignity of routine. He did the work, every day, without fail, a god of cosmic reliability, which, if you think about it, is far more useful than a god of dramatic moods. Yet myths rarely leave order alone. Human beings love greatness, but they also itch to seize it, imitate it, borrow it, or steal it for an afternoon. That itch is where disaster begins. Helios had children, as many gods did, and among them was Phaethon. His name meant shining, a promising start. Names in myth often work like little prophecies with a wicked sense of humor. The stories differ in their details, as old stories often do when passed from mouth to mouth, hearth to hearth, poet to poet. In one telling, Phaethon was mocked by other boys who doubted his divine parentage. In another, he grew restless with uncertainty and longed to know whether he truly was the son of the sun. In either case, a wound opened in him, and like many wounds, it dressed itself as ambition. He went to seek his father. Now picture the journey. A youth, half mortal and not nearly half as wise as he thought, traveling eastward toward the house of the dawn. Past ordinary lands he went, beyond the places where plows ran and ships traded, into regions where myth itself grew thick as cedar roots. At last he came to the radiant palace of Helios, where columns blazed and thrones shone, and the very floor seemed lit from within. No mortal hall could have compared to it. A king's chamber, for all its gold, is still a room. This was daylight made architectural. Helios sat enthroned there, in purple and fire, crowned with rays, dreadful in brightness. Around him stood day and month and year and century, and the ordered company of hours. It was a court of time itself. One suspects that walking into it would cure most young men of overconfidence in under a minute. Phaethon, regrettably, did not receive the cure. He approached, and Helios, seeing his son, opened his arms with joy, for even gods in Greek story can be caught off guard by affection. He welcomed the boy. He called him son. He swore by the dark river Styx, the most binding oath among the immortals, that he would grant him whatever gift he asked. This was the fatal moment. There is a law of myth, almost as reliable as the sunrise itself. When someone with immense power makes an open-ended promise, sorrow walks in through the side door. It happened then. It has happened since. It will happen again. Bureaucracies do it with funding. Fathers do it with sons. Nations do it with ideals. The pattern is older than memory. Phaethon asked for one thing. He wished to drive the chariot of the sun for a single day. At once Helios regretted the oath. He pleaded, he warned, he explained with all the force a father could summon. No mortal and no untested youth could guide those horses. The path was steep at dawn, highest at noon, plunging at dusk. The road cut between heaven and earth, the constellations wheeled there. The scorpion of the zodiac lurked with Ray's sting. Even Zeus, king of the gods, did not take up that chariot. The horses knew the hand of Helios alone. Fire obeys its master. It does not humor an amateur. But the boy would not yield. There is a particular kind of pride common to youth, and sadly not confined to youth, which hears warning as insult. Tell such a person that a thing is too dangerous, and he does not conclude that it is dangerous. He concludes that greatness has been hidden from him by cowards. This has launched many failed careers and several ideologies. In myth, it launches a far more literal catastrophe. Helios could not break his oath. So the hours prepared the team. The horses stamped and tossed their burning manes. They sensed, perhaps, that something was wrong. Animals often notice disorder before men do. That is one reason horses are noble and committees are not. Phaethon climbed into the chariot. His father gave him last instructions. Keep the middle course. Do not go too high, or the sky itself may burn. Do not go too low, or the earth will catch fire. Hold the reins firmly. Resist the horses at the difficult stretches. Follow the ancient track. Then dawn opened. The gates of the east swung wide. Light poured out. The horses lunged and the chariot sprang upward. At once they knew the hand upon the reins was not Helios. The car rode lighter than usual. The horses felt uncertainty behind them. They surged out of control. Phaethon pulled, but his arms were young and his grip untried. The reins burned in his hands. The team broke from the path. Up they climbed, too high. The earth below dimmed as the chariot veered toward the heights. Cold seized the world. The moon, some said, wondered to see the sun wandering where it should not be. The stars seemed near enough to strike. The ordered road of heaven bent away beneath him. Then panic took the boy, and in panic he did the thing that panic always does. He overcorrected. Down plunged the horses. Now the chariot came too near the earth. Forests burst into flame. Fields blackened. Rivers shrank. Crops curled and died. The skin of the land cracked under the heat. Libya, the story says, was scorched into desert, its people darkened by the near blaze of the sun. One can hear in that old explanation both the poetic reach of myth and its blunt, pre-scientific habit of answering every question with a god, a curse, or a heroic accident. Still, as image, it is magnificent. The world itself suffering from failed stewardship of heaven. Mountains smoked, cities burned. Great clouds of ash rose up. The nymphs of springs and rivers cried out to the gods as their waters vanished. Even the mighty Nile, in some tellings, fled in terror to the ends of the earth and hid its sources. Earth herself, the broad-bosomed mother, lifted a scorched face and called upon Zeus for help, lest all creation be consumed. Now the matter had passed beyond family tragedy. It had become cosmic emergency. Zeus looked down from Olympus and saw the world in ruin. The balance of heaven and earth had been broken by a single day of reckless presumption. So he took the thunderbolt in hand. There is something severe in what follows. Greek myth does not always flatter human aspiration. It admires courage, yes. It honors greatness, yes. But it also insists that there are boundaries woven into reality, and contempt for them is not freedom. It is suicide with a poetic soundtrack. Zeus hurled the bolt. It struck Phaethon from the chariot. Down the boy fell, trailing fire through the sky like a shattered star. He plunged into the river Eridanus, and there the waters received him, cooling the ruin of his body. The horses, freed of their driver, were mastered again by divine power, and the sun returned to its proper course. Day was saved. But stories do not end when order is restored. They linger where grief settles. Phaethon's sisters, the Helios, came to the riverbank and mourned him without ceasing. They wept beside the waters day after day until the gods, whether in pity or in grim necessity, transformed them into poplar trees rooted on the shore. Their tears hardened into amber and fell into the river. This is one of those mythic touches that makes the ancient world feel at once strange and heartbreakingly human. They looked at Amber and saw grief made visible. His friend or kinsman, sickness in some versions, lamented so deeply that he too was changed, becoming a swan who haunted the river and avoided the open blaze of the sky. A fitting creature, graceful and mournful, bearing memory on water. And Helios? Even a god could grieve. Some tellings say he was so stricken by the death of his son that he refused for a time to drive the chariot at all, and the world lay in darkness until other gods compelled him back to his task. It is a piercing thought, the sun itself halted by paternal sorrow, the cosmos dimmed by grief. Yet in the end, Helios returned to the sky. He had to. That is part of the dignity of the story. The world cannot remain forever in catastrophe or lament. There is labor to resume, horses to yoke, gates to open. The road of heaven waits for no man's despair, not even a god's. Morning comes because it must. So what are we to make of this tale? At one level it is simple. It is a warning against pride, rashness, and the desire to wield powers one does not understand. It says that inheritance is not mastery, that lineage is not competence, that wanting a glorious role does not fit one to perform it. At another level, it is about order. Helios is not merely a bright personality in the sky. He is rightful function. He is skill joined to duty. He is the proper hand upon the reins. Phaethon is appetite without formation, prestige without discipline, access without merit. He wants the symbol of greatness, the visible crown, the bright vehicle, but he has not undergone the long obedience that makes greatness bearable. That old distinction has never gone out of date. There is also something deeper still. The Greeks, for all their brilliance, were not modern people. They did not assume that every boundary exists to be crossed, that every inherited structure is oppression, that every caution is cowardice. They understood that the world has grain, it has a pattern. Work with it, and life becomes fruitful, though never easy. Defy it in vanity, and reality replies with flame, which gives this myth a hard and rather useful relevance. A civilization can become Phaethon, a class can become Phaethon, a generation can become Phaethon. Any society that inherits tremendous power while losing reverence, discipline, and proportion is a boy in a sun chariot, smiling for half a second before the forests catch. That is why old myths stay alive. They are not quaint little ornaments pinned to the wall of history. They are compressed judgments about human nature. And Helios remains, crossing the sky in blazing regularity, because men need reminders of rightful rule. Every dawn says that order is possible. Every noon says that power can be steady. Every sunset says that even the greatest force in heaven keeps its course and does not indulge itself. That may be why the figure of the sun god endured so strongly. Helios was not the rowdiest Greek deity. He did not spend his time disguised as wildlife to complicate village life. In a crowded divine household, that already marks him as unusually serious. He stood for visibility, measure, witness, and splendor joined to burden. He shone because he served. And perhaps that is the final note of the story. The boy wanted radiance without discipline. The father possessed radiance because he accepted discipline. There lies the whole difference between catastrophe and kingship. So when the Greeks looked east and saw the first line of fire rise over sea or stone, they did not see a machine. They saw a task renewed. They saw Helios once more ascending the long road, hand firm on the reins, horses blazing, light spilling over the world he surveyed. He had seen treachery, oath-breaking, pride, grief, ambition, mourning, and the wreckage left by reckless desire. Still he rose, still the gates opened, still the chariot climbed. And across the bright vault of heaven, the all-seeing God drove on, while below him mortals worked, loved, lied, prayed, fought, harvested, buried their dead, and lifted their eyes from time to time to the terrible golden witness above them, hoping perhaps that the light would warm them, and praying that it would not judge them too closely. Because in the old Greek mind, the sun was never a background object. It was a sovereign presence, a wheel of fire, a courtroom lamp, a crown in motion, and every day Helios wore it.